Okay, so we're not too far away from getting these cars out of the grid. The category for the Clipsal 500. And Cameron, not many people may have seen it before, so what's it all about?
Improved production is exactly as the name suggests. We also like the Soarers. You'll see a wonderful little Honda Civic, and that car is driven very, very well by Jordan Cox. But it started off as road-registered cars, and it's made its way through to the current format, and hasn't always just run at state level. It has run as part of the supercars over the years as well. We've seen them at Darwin regularly as part of the supercars, and recently we've seen them at Sydney Motorsport Park, and now they're making their debut at the Clipsal 500. And not only is it their debut, but it's going to be the first race of the Clipsal 500 weekend, Chad. So much variety in this category, so much speed. There is something for everyone out there, and if you haven't driven one of these cars, I'm sure at some stage in your career you probably will.
Well, it's a category that even you can race in, Cameron, and have done on numerous occasions. I've been begging Cam for a drive of his RX-7 that he's got set up. I'd love to take it for a spin one day, and probably after that sledge I just lost my opportunity, but it was worth it either way. There's Ben Schutz rolling out in another RX-7. So many fast cars, different engine types. We've got rotaries, we've got V8s, we've got 4s and 6s. We have categories for under 2 litres and over 2 litres. Let's go through the grid as they go out on their formation lap. It's a little Honda on front row, alongside a little Datsun, believe it or not. Jordan Cox and Miles Bond blocking that out. Watch out for the old Toyota, Chris Brown. Now, Andy Sarandis, this is a four-wheel drive Lancer. We're predicting maybe that could lead down towards turn 1.
Look, off the start, it's going to be a game of David versus Goliath. Four-wheel drive off the start, it's got to be an advantage.
So much variety all the way through down to James Sutton. Starting down in P9, we'll go over the page. Kyle Organ-Moore and one of the older model Commodores that we've got out there. Had a good close look with the Justin Wade car earlier. That thing is pretty special. Ben Schutz be quick coming from mid-pack. Didn't quite have the session he would have liked. But right at the very, very back of the grid, we'll be watching out for Tony Wallace coming through after doing an engine change. These guys taking their weekend seriously if they brought spare engines.
To be able to do an engine change in between practice and the race, it's a great testament to all the guys on the team. But look, I think the thing that's so exciting about this category is it shows how healthy state-level competition is down here in South Australia. We've got 32 cars on the grid. As you said, you've got all different makes and manufacturers and engine configurations, front-wheel drive, rear-wheel drive, all-wheel drive. Yet to get all these cars out here and see these guys experiencing it for their first time here at the Clipsal 500, it really is it's great for all of these guys to be out here today.
And these cars are real passion projects. They work on them in their own garages. This isn't the dizzying heights of the Red Bull Holden racing team. These are local guys who produce incredible amounts of horsepower and speed and somehow shave weight off their cars and test them at Malala. And here they are live on television, really having their moment in the sunshine for 3 races this weekend, so good on them.
It certainly is. It's, as you said, it's a labour of love. It'll be friends and family on the pit crew this weekend. Hot dogs and Cokes will be the...
yeah, a couple of days off work.
That'll be the payment for a day's hard work.
This is the category where the man standing alongside me, a Sandown 500 winner no less, got his start. So if you're thinking about getting into motorsport, maybe you could follow the career path of one Warren Luff and start right here. I remember seeing these signs last year when it was pouring rain. It was very ironic. Thankfully, the weather conditions are a little better right now, although there have been some pretty big storms around the Adelaide hills. Thankfully, they're staying away. Formation lap nearly complete. You see Jordan Cox alongside Miles Bond in that front row, Chris Brown in that blue Toyota, the Newlon-sponsored car going through the frame. But there's the Lancer that we're predicting should be quite quick. It's got the advantage of four-wheel drive off the line.
The good thing for Jordan Cox is, though, from the start line to turn 1, it's not a big drag race down there. But still, the advantage of that all-wheel drive car starting on the second row, and also the rear-wheel drive cars around him, it's going to play into their hands. So this is going to be interesting to see what happens off the start. Hopefully we can get cleanly through the first chicane. We've seen many categories fail to be able to do that over the years here. But look, it's going to be great for these guys to sort of get a race under their belt.
Look at that. One side of the grid is sun, the other side perfectly in the shade. Maybe that could be a little bit of help if you're on that inside row. Remember, P1 starts what would technically be on the outside of the track here, but it does give you key position for turn 2 and 4, so there is an advantage in that. But it's a very even start here, and not a huge run down to that first corner. So Honda alongside Datsun, then Toyota and Mitsubishi. The big XY rolls around. Looks like a big dinosaur stalking the pack. Grid's so big it goes all the way back around to the RX-8. Toyota Yaris, Now, when that green flag waves, should be a good sign that we're good to go racing. A big season of racing in 2017 starts at the Clipsal 500. The first race of the weekend's go, the new one, Improved Productions, racing down towards the first corner. 32 cars cleanly off the grid, and it's Miles Bond who leads us down to the centre chicane, and Jordan Cox was sideways and gathers it back up. Must have locked the rears, Warren.
No, one of the tough things about a front-wheel drive car is trying to get enough heat into those rear tyres on the warm-up lap. We've seen it over the years with many front-wheel drive cars. It can be very dicey. He did a great job to hold on to that through there.
Man, that was a big, big save. And he held on to P2. Didn't even lose a spot, as a matter of fact. As his dad, Graham, is working the back here of Ben Schutz. That's tough. So different Hondas for the father-son duo. But it's Miles Bond out front trying to skip this field as the tyre temps come up in these Yokohama AO50s for Jordan Cox. But relatively clean first lap here. Now Cox under pressure from the Toyota. That's Brown sitting in P3. Sarah Enders behind them. And then Schutz rounding out the top 5. Interesting start.
We can see everyone jostling for position on the run down at turn 9. Traditionally, it's a great overtaking spot on this first opening lap of the race, as people are still trying to get up to speed, as you mentioned before. Tyres coming up to temperature. A relatively short race here in comparison to what we're used to in terms of V8 supercars. Only a 7-lap sprint for these guys, but these guys will be out there pushing hard and enjoying every second of their track time out there.
Can Brown sneak up the inside at turn 14? Not close enough. That Civic will be very hard to pass under brakes just because it's so light. Dive into corners. But look at the power of the Toyota in a straight line. Just zips around the outside. It's got a 3 SGE motor in it. If you're an old school Celica fan from back in the day, showing the power. The 2-litre Honda motor tries to fight back.
This is where he'll be trying to look for an inside run anywhere up through this top section here, because this is the real strength of the little Honda. This is what we saw in qualifying. He had the fastest first sector by a long way.
Look at this, backing into the centre chicane.
You can see from the moment he's turned in, as we spoke about, just not enough rear tyre temp there. Bit of corrective lock. The most important thing with a front-wheel drive car at this point in time, keep that right foot buried to the floor. Keep the vehicle dragging from the front, and that's the best way to get out of a situation like that.
How did he gather this up? Just so cool. Probably followed that exact bit of advice that Warren Luff had. Just plant that right foot and maybe a bit of luck will drag you out of the situation. Got away with that one. And I get the feeling maybe the 99, Sarah just probably just backed out of it thinking, I'm going to wear that little Honda if I'm not careful. Great replay sequence at the start of the Newlon Improved Production 7-lap race. First one is complete. Working the end of lap 2. Bond has got company here. Oh, he's got an issue, more importantly. He pulls over to the right-hand side and relinquishes the lead. What a shame.
Obviously some kind of mechanical drum there. He'll be gutted that it's brought the end of his race.
Hot conditions here today. They're not used to running on street circuits. They're not, you know, these are your real sprinter kind of cars. And now the 74, unfortunately, of Wade Reynolds. This car started towards the back. Doesn't look like it's going to be making its way around. Hopefully that's not reason to bring out the safety car. So it leaves a little 8.6 out the front. Appropriately, number 86 from the Civic, chasing around the back part of this circuit.
What's going to be interesting here is how it plays out. Whilst, yes, it's only a 7-lap race, obviously tyres come into play. As you spoke about, it's a very hot day down here, so track temperature is certainly still up. It's going to be interesting to see, can the Sprinter hang on to its rear tyres? You saw when he came onto the straight before, the straight line speed of this car, it's got big horsepower under it. That's a lot of power going down through those rear tyres. Can the Civic maybe sort of later on in the race be there to take advantage?
To give you a bit of an idea, we're lapping around 10 seconds slower than a Virgin Australia supercar. Maybe even a little bit more.
Not bad when you consider the age of some of these cars, though.
Yeah, very impressive. Some from as old as the 70s. Cameron.
Jumped in with Miles Bond a second ago and said what happened. He said lost all its boost. So this is the challenge with this category. It is highly strung. They're almost like sprinters rather than stayers.
What a shame. Out front. It's a fine line when you get hot conditions with a turbo. Do you wind the thing up to try and make some more power? Fighting with terrible lag coming out of the corners. push it too far. Well, that's sometimes what can happen.
It's that fine line. It's that one opportunity they get to race here at the Clipsal 500. So you've got, as you said, it's that fine line between running enough boost so that you're going to be competitive, but also if you wind it up too much, you then, like you said, you also run the risk of getting some really bad sort of turbo lag. And there are a lot of low-speed corners here. The run out of the turn 9 hairpin onto the pit straight. Here we see the Civic in its element up through this tight, twisty section, right back up onto the back of the little Toyota Sprinter. But now we get into Toyota Sprinter territory. See you later.
Lays down the power and opens up nearly 10 car lengths at the exit of turn 7. Must be frustrating for Jordan Cox to do all that work to catch the back of the Toyota. Look at the gap it opens up in a straight line. And now he's got the better part of 13 corners to try and catch him again.
Yep. Chris Brown just really needs to just monitor this gap and not do anything silly. It's really up to Jordan to be able to sort of get onto the back of him and find a way past. The advantage, obviously, with the Sprinter is the moment you get to anything that resembles a straight line, he can basically gap him. So he doesn't need to make a mistake under brakes. Don't lock up a wheel like what we're seeing here. Big inside front lock there, over the curb.
Andreas getting very crooked in the BMW.
And the Magna following him through for good company.
I think it's four-wheel drive, that Magna. Cameron was telling me earlier, which is pretty cool. Oh, no. Oh, awkward spot to make contact. Wow, have a look how much he got moved around in the seat there.
It's great when you watch these slow-mos over that first chicane, just how much movement does actually happen in the car.
Here we go, battle for position as Beamer tries to make up for some lost time. RX-7 now potentially with an issue. As the 4 just pulls over to the side. Lenthal's dropping back multiple spots. By the way, Tony Wallace started last. He's up to 18th. He's on a bit of a charge here at the moment in the 55.
He'll feel like he's had a busier day than anyone out there.
Straight on cue. No. I'll put my hand up for that one.
Oh, the commentator's curse.
No, it was flying. Started last after an engine change. This is a brand new car. It's only had a shakedown at Malala, not a lot else after that. And unfortunately, he's having to park it. I tell you what, he knows his exit points quite well. Oh, watch the wall. Oops. You know, I'm just gonna. Oh, I'm just gonna shut up, I reckon, for the rest of the day.
The mechanical damage will be cheap to fix. It's going to be the bodywork.
Scraped it down the wall to make it worse. He's done a pretty good job trying to get out of the way so we could save the safety car. And he's out of harm's way on the front straight. So good effort, fair play. Parks it right next to the Fox box. You can go watch Jess and the crew do their work for the rest of the day. Still got a few more sessions to go after this. I might mention Aussie racing cars and the stadium trucks are still left. Then 3 whole days of racing. Oops, the 12's around. Awkward spot to do that. Hopefully didn't back it into the fence down there as well. Might have just got away with it. There's the turbo flutter we were talking about earlier. Anthony Norris, that was spinning in the little Dado. Got away with it though. All right, this is the battle for the lead, Warren. Let's just see if Jordan can catch him and pass him. And further back, the battle for third. And then the rest of the pack fighting for spots inside the top 5. This is tight.
This is going to get real exciting.
Oh! Around in front of the field. One in the fence. That's Nagib. Damage to the left front.
Graham Cox was the big benefactor in that one.
Picked a few off. Now careful. Which way do you go here? They've done a really good job actually getting out of there. The BMW lays some power down to evade the situation. And we'll just carry on like nothing happened. What happened there?
3 into 1 doesn't go. When we see the replay here,
they all outbraked each other.
Yep. The Datsun's gone in too quick with understeer. The BM's gone in too quick with oversteer. Graham Cox comes through in the little Honda Integra and goes, thanks, guys. I'll just sip on through here.
Wow, wait. And unfortunately, that does have a tyre rubbing by the looks of it, out of all that drama. Should be okay, can hopefully hold on. Oh, it doesn't like those right-handers now. Now, final lap for our leader. And I think Jordan Cox is just about thrown in the towel here.
Yeah, Chris Brown has extended that out to a 2.5 second lead there, so if as long as you don't talk about him, he should be fine.
Yeah. I'll turn the microphone off and you can call the last 3Ks of this one, Warren. He's done a really good job. Another local guy, spends countless hours working on this car. There's a local yellow down there. Looks like it's been withdrawn. And that might be why, because the Yaris. So we've got old school Toyota passing new school Toyota, hopefully. Careful, careful. The Yaris gets out of the way. And unfortunately for Jordan Cox, he couldn't quite gather it back up the road to try and catch the old school 86. This has been a good drive. Off the second row of the grid, started P3. Granted, there was a problem for Miles Bond, which helped him get to the front. But he staved off the challenges of this little Honda, which was very quick earlier today in qualifying. Couple corners to go.
Interestingly enough, he's actually gone 1.5 seconds faster than what he did in qualifying. So he's actually under the pole time set by Jordan Cox.
Good racing, isn't it, so far? So the time's coming in nicely. The pickup running strong. 32's last quarter for the first race of the year. It was difficult to predict what was going to happen in that one. And the 86 gets there to the checkered flag. You'll enjoy that. Beating the pole sitter home. Jordan Cox will be frustrated, although probably lucky he didn't go barreling through turn 1 on that very exciting entry. The fight for third. Sarandis will hold on just ahead of Ben Schutz in the RX-7. Schutz, after a good performance at the 12-hour this year in the big Dodge Viper, switches over to the Mazda, finishes inside the top 5. And Maitland rounds out the 5th car home. And Graham Cox lost a spot on the last lap, so not a great day for the Cox family there after the pole position that they took earlier today. A few guys slipping and sliding their way home. Entertaining 7 laps, Warren.
That was great fun. It was
cool.
A great bit of racing there, and big congratulations to Chris Brown. Great, well-deserving victory there.
It's the kind of racing you can expect to see at a state level round. Try and get out and see some improved production racing wherever you are from around the country. Chris Brown winning the first of 3 races for the new Lawn improved production cars from Jordan Cox. The pole sitter pushed him the whole way home. Michael Nagy caught up in an accident but still finished inside the top 10.